Hello, so this is the video diary for day 1, so Monday the 22nd of October 2018. So this is actually the 23rd today, but there was no way on earth I was going to manage to do the video after the flight, so I've just wrote down a few bits that I wanted to talk about. So left the UK on the Iceland Air flight around about 1 PM yesterday, on Monday, and yeah, it was all pretty smooth actually, going into the airport and security and all that kind of thing, so that was cool. Yeah, and when I got on the flight, I found that I was sitting next to two really nice people actually, a lady and her son, and they were going to Iceland. Now, I just thought actually it'd be good to talk a little bit about Iceland, because I can't say I knew much about Iceland before chatting to these guys. The lady, she said that there were two places she always wanted to go to, and one of them was Iceland and the other one was New York. She'd already been to New York. Yeah, so I said, okay, well, what is it about Iceland that you wanted to see? And she said that she really wanted to see the Northern Lights, and usually you can see it if it's not cloudy after about 6 PM in the evening. So I know when I got to the airport actually, at the Iceland airport, I did notice that there's quite a feature. They sort of got pictures of the Northern Lights and this kind of thing. Now, it seems like a very classy place to go to. It's very, very flat. I noticed as the plane was coming in, it was a very, very different kind of landscape to what I'm used to in the UK. It's a different sort of a landmass, I'm guessing, to the UK. And yeah, so they've got the hot springs, they've got these ice caves, which looks absolutely lovely. And they said that the air quality is so much better than what we normally experience in cities. Yeah, also the water is very, very clean. And I'd been chatting to one of the air stewardesses on the Iceland Air flight, and she said, yeah, they don't need to put any chlorine in the water or anything like this. So this was quite interesting. Yeah, so I think it's sort of a place that might be really quite nice to go to. Yeah, if you want a sort of a holiday that is more peaceful and tranquil, and yeah, they do all sorts of health related things, I think, there. And the lady that I spoke to that was an air stewardess, she also was a yoga teacher, so that was quite cool. And she said that they have very high educational standards in Iceland, and that quite a lot of the air stewardesses were like lawyers and various people that had got degrees, so that was quite strange to think they were doing that. But I think they quite like the lifestyle, really, of jumping on a plane, going and spending a few days in America or Canada, what have you, and then coming back to Iceland. So yeah, now when I got to the duty free in Iceland, there was quite a nice array of touristy purchases to be had, and so I gravitated naturally towards the chocolate section. Yeah, so I bought some Icelandic chocolate. You can see the label there. Now, what I'm about to say, I certainly wouldn't say lightly. This is possibly the nicest chocolate that I've ever eaten in my entire life. So I'll just show you again. Icelandic chocolate. Now, incidentally, I'd also bought some American chocolate as well, Hershey's bar, just to compare. Obviously, you need to compare these things. Yeah, so the Icelandic chocolate, dark chocolate with a hint of salt. Really, really nice. Yeah, I think my suitcase is going to be jam-packed with Icelandic chocolate when I come back. Yeah, so as we were coming into Iceland, it was interesting because it was starting to get dark, and it was British time about 4 PM, but they're an hour behind. so it was like 3:15 and it was starting to get dark. But as we took off for the next flight over to Minneapolis, it was starting to get light again as we travelled up towards Greenland and then down over the I wouldn't say top part of Canada, but just coming across over what would probably be some sort of Canadian islands, sort of icy land masses. Now there's something to be said actually for Greenland and for these areas. It was like hard to describe. It was like a mass of land that was covered in ice, and you could see these like rivers where you had frozen water, and it was just like unspoilt. And I thought, wow, how different that is to anywhere in the world where you've got, like people inhabiting a place. And it was just absolutely beautiful. There was nothing there. There was no people. There was no, it was quite interesting. Yeah, it was there was a strange beauty to it that is hard to describe really. So should you ever happen to fly over Greenland, do take a good look out of the window, because it really is quite something. So as we were flying over over towards Minneapolis, so we're coming over the Canadian border and then down towards Minneapolis, so coming sort of south. What is it? Southwest, something like that. It was starting to get dark, but we'd pretty much followed the sun around. So as we were coming round, because the most beautiful sunset and the sort of light dancing on the clouds was just really beautiful. I did manage to take a few photos, so I'll put those onto my Facebook page. If anyone wants actually to see the photos, then just send me a message and I'll put them up somewhere or other. So that was Iceland and Greenland and the top bit of Canada. So that was pretty cool. Now on the second part of the flight, I was sharing the seat that I was sitting next to. The person in the seat sitting next to me was an American guy called Pete. So he was in his 60s. He was travelling with his wife, and they lived in Hawaii. So that was quite cool. And so Pete was quite good actually, because I'd got a bit of a headache, not had enough sleep, was all a bit crazy, and Pete looked after me a little bit. So thanks, Pete. He said, "Oh yeah, someone's got to live in Hawaii." I said, "Yeah, that would be a pretty cool place to live." What is it about Hawaii that you liked? And he said, "Well, it's the warm water, but also the people." And I'd heard about the how to put it, the ancient Hawaiians had a particular culture. And this is quite an interesting thing to look at, because they have a different way of doing things compared to to what is quite commonplace in the Western world, and they tend to look at their own responsibilities a little bit more. And so whenever they get any problems or any disputes or any issues in their lives, they actually look to see what their role was in it. Maybe it was something that they should have done, maybe it was something they shouldn't have done, and this kind of thing. So there's certainly something to be said actually for looking into the Hawaiian culture. And I know there are various videos on YouTube that do look at this topic. So what else to say? What was also interesting about coming into the US, so it was getting darker over in Iceland, but as we went round it got lighter, the day just went on and on and on and on. It actually got dark, what would have been UK time, something like 1 in the morning, and that was a really strange experience. You know, people say, oh, they want the day to be longer. Yeah, it was a novelty, but I've got to say I think I prefer it to be 24 hours. Yeah, so that was that. Right, what else did I write down? Yeah, so when I got to the airport, a nice African chap drove me back in a taxi to where I was staying, and yeah, there's probably a note to say about taxis actually. Let's just say you need to shop around for the best price. Yeah, I think that let's just say I think I paid too much, but there we go. Maybe a certain well-known taxi company might be the one to go for. Recently in the news. Yeah, so one of the things that I've been looking at was like border control, like US border control, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't know what I was going to get asked. I thought I was going to get interrogated for 3 hours with the Gestapo light in your face, but it turned out to be extremely straightforward. So as you get into the States, you have to put your fingers on like an electronic pad which takes your fingerprints. They take a photo of you, and then you have to declare whether you've got anything like fruits and vegetables, any meat or dairy products, or any live animals. So I thought, yeah, I'll just get the chicken out of my back, out of the rucksack, better declare that one then. It's quite amusing. So you put it, you do all your fingerprints, and then you say whether it's like electronic touch screen, and then you just press which ones apply, and then you go through to be like a little, next to like a little booth, and then like the border control officer, who basically looks like a military guy, asks you various questions. Yeah, so he said, why are you coming to the States? How long are you going to be here? And then he took all of my fingerprints and took photos and things. So yeah, it was very, a little bit intimidating, but I think I passed reasonably well. And what was really funny was that just as he said, oh yes, you can go now, and then he goes, he completely changed out of character and went, oh, have a nice day. After it, pretty much said, why do you want to come to the US, in the most sort of sternest voice you've ever heard. Yeah, so border control, yeah, that was pretty straightforward to get through that, and then pick up your baggage. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. By the time I got in, it was something like 3 o'clock in the morning. So that UK time, but that was only like 9 in the evening Minneapolis time. So it was good because it meant, I could have a bit of a lie-in, which is always good. Great, so thanks for listening, and hopefully I haven't rambled on too much. I'll try not to talk too long, in these videos. But if you've got any questions, just send me a message in the comments section. And yeah, we'll see you all again tomorrow. Okay, take care, bye bye.